It's already over for David. He just doesn't know we found the receipts yet. Because by the time the news camera blinked, by the time ABC 7 hit post, by the time that one little 9:55 p.m. message dropped inside his own Discord server, David's army of fans had already pieced together the entire timeline of an alleged murder before the police even knew who the body belonged to. And nobody is talking about that part. Nobody. I had to sit with this for a full hour before I could even bring myself to record this, because what I'm about to walk you through is not a normal celebrity scandal. This is a digital crime scene. And David, the same David who was smiling on tour posters, the same David promoting $25 burger songs, the same David getting media trained 2 days before Celeste's 15th birthday, was sitting online in that exact server, lurking, while a teenage fanbase accidentally solved his alleged crime in real time. Let me show you what they saw. Let me show you what David saw them seeing. And let me show you the one detail every other channel skipped right past. You guys know I never play with the receipts. So buckle in, because this one is dark. Let me set the scene for you the way nobody else has. September 8th, 2025. The night Celeste should have been blowing out 15 candles. The night her birthday cake was supposed to sit in front of her face. Instead, that night, her remains were sitting in a sealed bag inside the front trunk of David's white Tesla, parked at a Hollywood tow lot off Mansfield Avenue, surrounded by strangers who had been complaining about a smell for days. And while that car sat there decomposing, David was on stage in the Midwest, posting promo pictures, smiling for selfies, plugging a Hollister Crocs collab like nothing was wrong. Because make no mistake, this video is about David. David's lies. David's discord. David's alter ego. David's quiet little army of teenage fans who treated a missing child like an album rollout theory. Now stay with me, because here's where it gets sick. While Celeste's body was being identified by the lapped, David's Discord server was wide open. Open like a confession booth. And what was happening inside that server in the 60 minutes before the news dropped is something I need you to really hear. Because this is the part the prosecution is going to want every single screenshot of. I'm telling you right now. This Discord is going to be Exhibit A. 40 terabytes of evidence have already been handed from prosecutors to David's defense, and it's only 25% of what they actually have. 25%. So sit with that for a second. We are looking at the loose threads, and the loose threads alone are already a noose around David's neck. Let me tell you what was on screen 1 hour before the world found out. 1 hour. That's it. 60 minutes before the headline "Decomposing Body Found in David's Tesla" hit ABC 7 LA, David's Discord was running like a daycare with the doors locked. Minors making unsavory jokes. Teenagers talking about group goons. Someone casually dropping that Luke was 15. 15. The same age Celeste never got to reach. Don't tell me the air in that server was clean. Don't tell me the people watching over David's community were watching anything at all. Because the Discord mods, the people David handpicked, the same people we are going to talk about, were letting that culture marinate. And right in the middle of that chaos, at 9:55 p.m., one user with shaking hands typed the message that changed everything. I don't talk here, but can anyone confirm what KTLA is saying on the Instagram about David? His first post comments are off. That single sentence. That's the moment the floor opened under David's whole life. And David, the brilliant David, the media-trained David, was online. Don't believe me? His own server logged him. Multiple users called it out in real time. David's online. He just went offline. His lurking. His reading this. David was sitting there, watching his fanbase Google how does a body decompose, watching teenage girls cry over their goat, watching kids ask is this album promo, while his alleged victim was already 8 months gone. Read that sentence again. 8 months gone. Celeste had been dead since April. And David finished a tour. David recorded music. David promoted Crocs. David signed a Fortnite collab. David started media training. David did all of that, allegedly, with Celeste's body inside the trunk of his own car for part of that time. That's not a glitch. That's not a coincidence. That's a pattern. That's David. Don't go anywhere. I haven't even dropped the worst part yet. Now here is the angle nobody is taking. Everyone is focused on what David did. I want you to focus on what David's Discord knew. Because within minutes of that ABC 7 link being posted, the kids in that server were already accidentally building the prosecution's timeline for them. One user, a kid the others kept calling Will, started doing the math out loud. A body takes time to decompose. It would have had to have been there for a long time. The last time David was in LA was back in April. April. That kid, a child, solved the timeline, the same timeline that the affidavit later confirmed. Because the murder, according to court paperwork, allegedly happened in April, when David was last physically in Los Angeles. We'll figure that out at 10:14 p.m. on September 8th. Will, on a Discord server, in his bedroom, with a Discord Nitro icon and a username made of emojis, figured out what took the lapped weeks to officially confirm. And David was watching him do it. Let that sit with you. I told you, this is not a normal story. This is the kind of story that makes the FBI bookmark a server. Let me pull the curtain back a little further, because while Will was casually putting the timeline together, the rest of the server was breaking into factions. You had Camp Cope, the one screaming, "David would never. This is promo for the deluxe." Someone framed him. What if it's an Atami prompt? Now if you don't know, Atami was David's alter ego, an imaginary version of himself who allegedly committed crimes that David then had to solve. Cute little gimmick. Real edgy alternative pop star branding. Except in light of what we now know, Atami doesn't feel like a gimmick anymore. Atami feels like a cover story. Atami feels like a confession dressed up in lipstick and eyeliner. And David, the same David who built an alter ego around solving fake crimes, allegedly committed a real one. That's not art. That's a red flag the size of the Hollywood sign. And those kids in the Discord, those baby stands, were sitting there in real time, begging the universe for it to be an Atami prompt. It wasn't a prompt. It was a body. Her name was Celeste. Quick rehook for you, because I want you locked in. Here's the part I want every single one of you to remember when this case finally goes to trial. David's own Discord was already running a defense team before David ever said a word. Within the first 30 minutes of that ABC7 post, fans were inventing excuses. Maybe he let someone borrow his car. Maybe it was planted. Maybe his friend group did it. Maybe the LA show is just cancelled. Maybe. And listen, I want you to hear me on this one, because this is where Sophia comes in. Sophia, the infamous Discord mod. The one Wired wrote up. The one who suddenly went quiet. The one who once allegedly got asked to delete everything when David did a stream with a minor on camera. Yeah, that's Sophia. Sophia walked into the chat that night, not panicking, not freaking out, but already nudging the narrative. She said, and this is in the screenshots, I swear to God, been telling this guy you gotta be careful. Be careful. Be careful of what, Sophia? Be careful who he hangs out with? Be careful who he lends his car to? Be careful which minors he streams with? Because every single time the David ship hits an iceberg, Sophia somehow has a soft little excuse ready in her pocket like she's been rehearsing for months. I'm not saying she knew. I'm saying she sounded like she knew. There's a difference. And the receipts tell a story she has not been able to outrun yet. Now ask yourself, why was Sophia softening the blow before David even spoke? Because David never spoke. That's the answer. David never opened his mouth. David's manager, Rob Morganroth, tagged dozens of times that night, said nothing. Discord mod Zerks, tagged dozens of times that night, said nothing. Discord mod Moji tagged, asked, begged, tell me it's not true, said nothing. The David Updates Twitter account, blue check verified, the official voice of David's fandom, said they're confused, asking the chat to explain it to them. Explain it to them. Their job is to explain David. And David's own people were waiting on a 13-year-old in a Discord call to break the news to them. That is not normal. That is not how a real artist's team reacts to a body in their car. That is how a team reacts when they already know. Don't be fooled. I'm telling you right now, don't be fooled. The silence from David's camp on September 8th was not shock. It was strategy. And every minute they spent silent, the Discord did the talking for them. And the Discord said wild things, y'all. Wild. I'm talking screenshots of kids tagging David asking, is that my bestie in a Tessie? I'm talking memes about David getting pegged in jail. I'm talking jokes about him being the new O.J. Simpson. I'm talking teenagers, literal teenagers, posting the federal disclaimer copy pasta. The one that goes, in case of an investigation by any federal entity, I do not have any involvement with this group or the people in it. I do not know how I am here. I do not support any actions. Hundreds of them. All at once, like a flock of pigeons scattering off a roof. Because these kids, these fans, the same ones screaming, stream, romantic homicide, 40 minutes earlier, suddenly realized that being in David's Discord might make them part of a federal case. That kind of mass panic doesn't happen over a misunderstanding. That kind of mass panic happens